Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us. We're broadcasting from the Thomas K. McKeon Center for Creativity, and I'm your host, Corey Taylor. Today we're going to be talking about veganism, and I'm here joined by Nicole Dawson, certified nutritionist. If you want to know what it takes to shift in life and have a healthy eating lifestyle, then you come to the right place. So stay tuned because this is Up Close with Corey Taylor. Hello, welcome back, and I am joined with my amazing co-host, Dr. Gina Pasali. How are you?
Hey, Mr.
As
Corey.
well as our expert today, Nicole Dawson. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good. How are you?
Nicole, it's nice meeting
Hi,
you.
nice meeting you.
She always reaches over me. It's the weirdest thing in the world. Nevertheless, but I'm so glad you're here, and I'm glad you came back. You know, we had such an amazing response, I feel, from you being on, and probably the response was me because I had a lot of fun talking about what you were doing. But I want people to know that you're not just our expert today, but you're an author. You've written 2 cookbooks, and those cookbooks are largely about health.
Yes.
Okay, so talk to us about those 2 cookbooks real quick before we get into the meat and potatoes of why we are really here.
And that
Yes.
carrot cake looks delicious.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wait, stop. I know this is off subject. I went to Whole Foods,
Yes.
had a carrot cake. I'm addicted to it right now. I had a chocolate cake and they were vegan. And I said, I did not know this stuff could be that good. So go ahead. Talk about you. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm ready to go.
No,
Y'all
no,
ready to go.
They have good vegan cake.
Oh
there,
my
absolutely.
gosh. Like, look, no plug for Whole Foods. I'm just saying that I was there and it's some great stuff. But
Yeah.
there's other places, but that was the one, my favorite one. But go ahead.
Yes. So the cookbooks are basically, they're all vegan, but it's mostly based on dessert recipes because that's one of the harder things to do. And we also tie that into our food allergy story. So we can't do dairy, eggs, nuts. And so that takes a lot of that out. And then also for people who are gluten-free and sensitivities, other things along those lines, those are all taken out. So it's trying to give them something exciting, something delicious, but a little bit healthier twist to it so that they can still enjoy some sweet treats as well.
And for those who didn't catch your show last time, you talked about your allergy stuff because you have a blog.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about your blog.
Yes, so the blog is called allergylicious.com. It's basically trying to let people know that allergy-friendly food can be delicious, but it's also all vegan. A lot of it was just trying to share with people great recipes, whether it's desserts or snacks or entrees that people can eat that are going to be able to fit into a restrictive diet.
Man, and it's so interesting because when I brought you on the show the first time, you was like, eat dessert first. And that was the book? And I was like, wait, this goes against I was like, there's
sounds
moms
good.
around
I
the
like
world.
that.
There are moms around the world gonna not like you because they're like, eat your veggies first. You know, your book is like, eat dessert first. So what made you
Yes.
come up with that title for that book?
You know, I just wanted it to be fun. I think so many times when you feel like you can't have certain things, there's just this mental block and you just are starting to get depressed or you think of all the events and parties and things that you can't go to or you don't feel like you can do. And so I just wanted to have fun with it, encourage people and just be like, yes, you can have fun. Eat your dessert first. We don't care. Just as long as you can eat this, that's the most important thing.
And this is so awesome that because today I brought you back because you hinted a little bit already, but it's because when I had you on the show last time, you are vegan.
Yes.
And a large reason of becoming vegan is because your son was dealing with those allergy things and you couldn't eat dairy and he couldn't eat dairy.
Right.
He couldn't eat eggs and he couldn't eat. And so then it just made sense to shift the whole house into a vegan lifestyle. And so, but with that being said, how hard was that for you all to go there?
It was definitely an interesting transition. The very first, because we also had to take nuts out of our diet. And so when you're looking at, you can't have dairy, you can't have eggs, you can't have nuts, but we were just eating a lot of meat. And I just didn't feel great with that. I didn't feel good about it. It made me feel a little more lethargic. And I just, we came to a point in our life where we were doing a fast and it was a 30-day fast.
Wow.
And with that, we went vegan for 30 days and I was doing CrossFit probably 4 to 5 days a week. I was
Wow,
able
you
to
felt
keep
better.
up. I felt better. I recovered quicker. I just overall felt great. And so it was just a lot of that and studies and going back to, when I got back to school, studied veganism. And I was like, let's just try it. And the shift, there were certain things you still craved and wanted, but the dairy and egg side of it, we had to completely avoid anyways. And then it was just starting to take out things here and there and just not driving certain routes and going into certain drive-thrus
Don't
anymore.
go through that
Exactly.
drive-through.
Exactly.
Wow.
Well, whenever you're talking about no eggs and no nuts, and I think about, and the no meats, how do you manage, because one of the things I've read about vegans is that sometimes they're low in like the B complex, and how do you mix those to get more of the B vitamins to make sure that you have that? Is it just a different combination of vegetables?
Yeah, it's a lot of a combination. It's what I love about being vegan is that it just adds a whole lot more things to your plate than you would typically use.
Agreed.
So
you have to mix different things, so you're actually getting probably a more balance.
So you're getting a complete proteins and all the amino acids that you're supposed to be getting, but you're just getting it from a variety of foods. It could be your quinoas, it could be your broccoli, it could be, different things like that. And then adding in things like nutritional yeast, which is high in your B vitamins.
Oh, okay.
So I'll add that sometimes with a quick thing of popcorn and then throw some nutritional yeast on it, or use that for your cheesy flavoring.
Oh,
and
that's
so we're able
nice.
to get that in there.
Now, this is what cracks me up because I can remember this. So I've been vegan now for like 4 months. And I can remember when, after the show, actually after the show, and you were talking about it, and I was like, I might try that. Because what got me was the whole dessert thing. Because now, prior to me becoming vegan and eating a lot of meat, I never liked dessert unless I had it first, of course. And no pun intended, but I used to eat it first. But then then I would force myself to eat the rest of my food. But the thing that got me after the show, you start talking about how it could be fun and all this, and I was like, I tried that for like 5 days, no meat, and then nothing fun about it. So after the show, very interesting thing happened to me. My daughter came to me, my oldest daughter, came back from school. She said, Dad, have you ever seen the documentary, What the Health? And I was like, no, I watched Forks Over Knives, and I said, it was so boring. I was like, no, but it was good, but I wanted the information, so I sat there and watched it. Yes. So then I watched What the Health. I'm glued for the first 5 minutes, and then after that, I'm mesmerized. But it was just the information. So couple that with the show, and then do that, then I became vegan. This was where I was going with that. The first 10 days, I thought I would die. I walked around like a zombie because I didn't know what to eat.
Right.
I ate pasta noodles for like 7 days because that was the only thing I could find that was vegan.
Yes.
I thought.
Right.
So then I'm at my wit's end one day and I'm like, I said I'm gonna do this vegan thing, but if I don't find some real food, I'm just gonna have to quit. And I said, well, let me go to Whole Foods because they say they're healthy. Man, I go in there and it's like this whole light just light the whole building up like, ah. And this girl say, how are you? And she just kind of floats in. And I was like, hey, I'm trying to be vegan. And she's like, you're new at this, aren't you? She's like, well, follow me. And as she began to walk, the floor started lighting up like I was just in this magical place. And she was like, here's the meat. Here's the cheese. I was like, you got vegan meat? That vegan cheese. I was like, I love this place. And then I started finding out that it was so foreign to me that Whole Foods wasn't the only one. It was Sprouts. It was so many other places. But I was saying all that to say this. If you don't shift the way you think, then you feel like there's nothing to eat other than meat in the world. So I'm just saying, I just threw that out there for y'all.
Yeah, I started the Moringa aloe the plant-based protein, and that's really good. That helps me. I'm not vegan. I'm maybe a little pescatarian, polotarian. What do you call it?
Chicken and fish.
Yeah, but it does. It definitely, as you start doing more plant-based, you can feel your body. You have more energy. You thin down. Your muscle mass seems stronger. So it's a really great thing. And as far as mental health goes, tell me about what you know about. Some of the studies show that depression is less with veganism, anxiety is less. Have you had any of that experience with anybody you've coached or anything?
Yeah, I have seen that in several of my clients. A lot of it is just also that mind shift is just giving them hope. But then knowing that they're starting to eat so many vegetables in their diet, things that they had avoided before or didn't really start using before. And so, and then they're incorporating things like coconut oils and flaxseed oils and chia seeds, which are great for brain health. And so you do see a lot of that shift from just one, the encouraging aspect of it, to seeing like their weights dropping and their cholesterol dropping. So things like that are starting to make them feel more encouraged and giving them hope. And then in addition to that, you're looking at these foods and full of vitamins and nutrients and minerals that they weren't getting before.
Right. I always tell clients, I mean, they'll come in and they'll have this horrible diet or not eating at all. And they're like, I've got to go get an antidepressant. I'm like, no, you have to feed your brain. Your brain is like, it doesn't run off of no fuel,
Correct,
just like
right.
your car. It doesn't
Absolutely.
matter if you have a Lamborghini and have no fuel. So what you're saying is true. Basically, you're saying all the nutrients and everything in the vegan diet really offers brain support too.
It sure does, absolutely.
Man, so the thing that, and I'm glad you said that, because I actually went to my doctor recently to get a checkup because and then I told my doctor, I said, well, doc, you'll be so happy. I was like, I went vegan. And she was like, good for you. Then she hit me, she's like, but wait, let me check your cholesterol. And I was like, why? She's like, something happens when people become vegan, their cholesterol levels go up. And I was like, okay, check it. And then she started throwing all these, you're happy, but there's a but to it. And I'm like, okay, but I get my stuff back. And you know what? I looked at my old test results of like my blood levels and cholesterol. My stuff has decreased. It has literally decreased. And plus I incorporated exercise. And yes, the weight loss advantage is there because I'm leaning out so nicely. I'm pretty excited about it. I mean, I'm not happy about the tailoring bill, but I'm happy that I'm leaning out and I feel good about it. And then the thing that I was telling Dr. Gina one time is that you learn how to now, your energy level is different. And even my focus is different now, where I really couldn't focus before. And this is what happened when I started watching What the Health. They started showing the research behind that when you consume a lot of animal protein, it does make you lethargic. It does make you, and I tell people, you don't believe me, do this. Go eat a whole bunch of steak, then see how you feel. You're going to be full. You're going to be happy in your tummy. But do you get lethargic? Do you get sleepy? Do you want to just lay down? What I find now is that after I get through eating a lot of food, I'm not tired. I'm like, yo, let's go. Everybody like, no, let's go to sleep. See, there's the difference.
Yes, and that's almost like when you think of that natural, the siesta time or that,
Right.
2 o'clock dip in your energy level during the day. A lot of that's because your body's trying to pull energy from other sources to process all the food you just ate. Whether it's, most people are eating a heavy meat-based diet anyways. And so when you're thinking of that, it's like, like your body's shutting down. It's trying to figure out, what do I do with these things? How do I break it down? Where when you're eating more plant-based, it's
just
going
utilizing
through.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's using it
like
and processing
20 minutes
it.
or so, you're actually processing the nutrients. I wanted to ask you this too. On one of your little sites where you have different quotes, it had Leonardo da Vinci, and he is my all-time favorite. I mean, if I could be anybody for a week, I'd want to be him because he's a botanist, scientist, everything.
Brilliant.
So then I find out he was a vegan, and that was just pretty amazing. I'm like, so maybe that's where his brilliance and clarity and ingenious came from, having that clear mind.
I agree, because as being a brilliant person myself, just playing. No, y'all thought y'all would catch that.
Now you're just more brilliant the last 4 months.
I'm better now. No, but real talk, my life has changed. And the thing is like, people now, and this may sound so weird to people, but people now that see me all the time, it's like, something's different about you. And I'm like, I lost weight. They're like, no, it's not that. You already were slimming down, but something's different. And what I realize is there's more of a vibrancy about me. My eyes have been, and that's the thing that when I started doing this, but at first I had the battle of getting and believing that I would be able to find enough different foods to survive, because I was like, there's no way. And so my oldest daughter, who brought the DVD to me, she said, we going vegan. You going vegan. And after about stop.
Out of the mouth
After
of kids.
a week, she gonna write her little blog thing. I find that this lifestyle is not sustainable and blah, blah, blah. I said, babe, stop it. You were the one all gung-ho about being vegan. And I say, you can't say that the lifestyle is not sustainable, because there's been vegans for 40, 50 years and they're not dead. They're still here.
And it's been around for thousands of years.
Right. And so I was like, so with me, I had to get over that mental shift of and Dr. Gina, help us out with this, because here's where I was. Because and this new thing that they have they're calling it vegetable forward now. Where it's like, we're going to put the vegetables, make those the entree, the meat is the side dish, where now the meat is the entree and the vegetables are the side dish. Yes. And with that being said, the one thing that I had to learn and do was shift in my brain, because when I was eating meat first, only thing that mattered is, as long as they have meat at this place, I can eat. If I went to a place and it just had salad, I'm like, oh, we have to leave. But now it's like, as long as they got good vegetables here, we can eat. Mm-hmm. If they have meat, we got to leave. Like, that's how I think now. But there had to become a paradigm shift. So, Dr. Gina, I wanted to ask you that question. What is that's going on in our brain that makes us not be able to shift those gears, or how do we get to those paradigm shifts?
Well, the interesting thing, when I've gone to like eating disorder conferences and stuff, food has like 16 places in the brain where you've got all these connect the dots view. I
told you had a statistic.
So, like, we have holidays, we celebrate, we go to, restaurants, we, all of these meanings that we have. So to have that paradigm shift, it's like several things have to happen at once to begin to realign all of those places where information, from the time, so one of the first things we do is eat when we come out of the womb. Is, we smell the breast milk,
but
and that's what we go for. But we're not eating meat, though.
We're not eating meat, and that's what's crazy. It is oh, wait a minute. You just opened up a whole other can of worms. Wait, okay, but we're not going to go there now. Because now that was an interesting question. The breast milk is human
it's
protein.
Human milk.
So how does one, I'm sorry, I had to go there. How does one deal with that if they're vegan? Are they allowed to feed their children?
They're still feeding their children. But what they're putting in their body is the nutrients that the child is being fed. But there's no other culture in the world that goes or there's no other creature in the world basically that would go to another creature's breast milk and drink it.
Yeah, like goat's milk, or like cat's milk. You don't drink any other
Like humans
milks.
are the only creature on the planet that will go to another
source
for milk, when really that's for that first year of life. It's for giving them the nutrients because they can't eat it, they can't fend for themselves. That's to get them fat, it's to get them healthy, it's to give them all the nutrients they need.
And antibodies.
Exactly. And then now we just keep going along, but we'll find other sources for it.
Stop for a minute. Hold up. This is what's crazy to me. When I was watching the movie What the Health, the one thing that and this is what other people, because I stay at the gym, you did CrossFit, you and your husband, I used to see you all in the gym. And the one thing that people used to say to me, it was like, yeah, and they say it with this real snide thing, yeah, you're vegan, but where you get your protein from? You're not going to be able to, get muscle mass if you don't have protein. And they stomped me because I didn't know. Because I'm like, and so I started looking at everything, and it was like 1% protein. It was, and so then I reached out to my friend, shout out to Michael Swanson, the brother beloved, a producer out in Hollywood, who was a vegan. And when I took him out to eat when I was in LA one time, he said, I'm vegan. And I was like, whoa, I didn't know, bro. Like, we can leave. He's like, no, I learned how to live with finding stuff on the menu that I can eat. I might have to rearrange and make my own dishes in the restaurant. And he started sending me this list of all of the proteins with literally like a picture that made it real simple. It's like, this is a good and then now I've learned that, okay, that was a myth. You can't get enough protein. And then when I was watching the movie What the Health, they said, here's the science behind this. They said, you know what a gorilla is? And I was like, yeah, like, duh. He's like, gorillas are like the strongest animals in the jungle. They don't eat meat. They eat plants. So how do they get strong? Look at an elephant. They don't eat meat. They eat plants. So they said, so the whole doctrine of if you want to work out and be healthy and be a bodybuilder, you had to have animal protein versus plant protein. They said that's a myth. And the thing that really got me was this. There was a scientist on the documentary, and he said this, can I give y'all a science lesson real quick? And I'm like, this has got to be good.
Sure.
Not me, that's what he said.
Oh, I thought you were going to
give us you a science lesson. That's your job. He said, first of all, this is science 101. Animals don't make protein. Plants do. And they said the animals just eat the protein it stores and metabolizes in their muscles, which is where we get steak from. He said, and then all they do is they eat so much protein. When you make a steak out of a cow, all you're eating is the stored up protein that the animal ate from the plant. He said, so why not get your protein from where the animals get their protein? I was like,
I never thought of that. That's pretty good.
hallelujah. And I was like that. So let's talk about protein, because most people have that misconception.
Absolutely. That's one of the first questions that you hear, or if they look at your blog and they comment, it's like, well, where do you get your protein? Or if they know that you work out, that's really what the very first question. And so a lot of it comes down to, like we were talking before with amino acids. Your body needs to break down the protein to become an amino acid. Well, you can just get those amino acids immediately from eating your plant-based. And so why take that extra step, cause your body to...
Then you don't have to digest the meat.
Exactly. Then you don't have to process it and take that time to do it. And so a lot of it comes from that. But you have things like tofu and tempeh and all your beans and legumes, and even vegetables have those higher protein levels in there, chia seeds, flax seeds. You can add so many different things in your diet, and you're eating a balanced diet, you're eating lots of nutrients, and then you're still getting your protein in there. And the myth of how much protein you need is just ridiculous too. They would have me eating probably double the amount of protein I actually
tell
need.
me about
It's just crazy.
Because when I was at the gym, somebody was telling me, I was like, yo, man, you go to these trainers, you like, yo, I want to be ripped. I want to look nice. He was like, so you're going to need to eat about 200 grams of protein a day. And then I go Google the dietary allowance for protein a day for men was 50 grams.
Yeah, it's like...
I was like, this is overkill. And I talked to my doctor, and he was like, that's in excess. He was like, on average, it's 50 national average. That's how much you have to get before you start becoming deficient as a man. Woman is like 35 to 40%. 40 grams. Mm-hmm. He said, but anything over like 130, he said, you're getting into the danger zone. And especially if it's not plant-based. Your body can process plant-based protein quicker, faster than animal protein. As a matter of fact, what I found through research is animal protein has more of a strain on your vital organs to break down the protein than plant-based.
Well, and not only that, it turns acidic, which is high cancer-causing environment in the body. So to break down animal fat, it ends up creating an acidic system, whereas plant-based, you get more of an alkaline pH. Isn't that true?
Absolutely, yeah. So if you have people who are trying to clean out their gut, they have poor gut health, like you said, the acidic basis of those kind of foods are just crazy. And so you take out the dairy, you take out the eggs, you take out the foods like the meats that are high in that acid that their bodies can't break down properly, and then you start giving them these plant-based diets, so it's able to fix and heal a lot of the things that have been damaged before.
So the body, what you're saying is the body actually will start healing itself if you get some of the toxic processed stuff out of it and give it some room.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that, because for the simple fact I've actually experienced that, because I had acid reflux real bad, and this is talking about alkaline. And I went to one of my doctors years ago, and I was saying, I'm taking Nexium. And the doctor looked at me, and he said, I'm going to need you to stop taking Nexium. And I was like, why? Was they proton pump inhibitors or whatever? And he says, stop taking it. And then he just told me stop taking it. But he didn't tell me why. He said, as a doctor, I can't tell you. I'm just telling you that it's not good for you. And then I said, dude, but have you ever had acid reflux? You know what that's like at night? That's a nightmare. He was like, you know how to help that and cure it? I was like, what? He said, get some baking soda, take a teaspoon of it, and watch what happened. I had no more acid reflux flare-ups unless I was eating all acidic things. Well, guess what? When I went to the doctor the other day, they checked my levels. Guess what my pH balance was? It was 8.
Oh, it was.
7.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
it was 8.
That's great.
I was alkaline.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I was like, shut up. It really does work. So I was all excited. Like, it wasn't too high to be weird, but 7 to like 4 to 7. It was a normal range. It was one above that, which made me more alkaline than acidic. And I was like, yo, I'm good now. So I always wondered, why isn't it that, do you think that most people are not being vegans?
I think a lot of it's just misconception and how we've been raised. You know, I was raised in a meat and potatoes kind of home, and that's what we had. So if you're raised in a home where, I mean, Southern cooking or whichever part of the world you're raised in, that a lot of that goes back to that's just what you know, that's what you're familiar with. It goes like your mind triggers, that's what you've associated with comfort and feeling good and to be able to like,
Fellowship
exactly.
and fun. And,
yeah, and so a lot of it just goes to that. The other part of it would be convenience, that if you don't know it, it's foreign, that it's going to feel a little bit odd. It's going to be a learning curve. And so, but my thing is, whether you're going vegan or you're just going on a diet and you're cleaning up the types of foods you're eating, either way, it's a learning curve. You have to find out what foods you're going to eat. You have to see, you should be reading ingredients anyways and know what's good for you. So I think it's convenience, it's a lot of past history and what you've been raised in, and then just not knowing what's available. Like when you said you went to Whole Foods and you didn't know what was there, I think I was the same way. I ate pasta for probably about a month, and, and it was just like I could eat pasta and rice, yes. And then after that, I was like, oh, so okay, there's more things. And then you start eating all this. Like for me, I ate a lot of like the fake foods because I was trying to fill in that void of what we were used to eating. And then it was like, well, no, but I'm reading these ingredients, unless they're still plant-based, you know, substitutes. It's still processed.
Yeah, like there's junk food
yeah,
vegans.
There's still
so
much
strange
junk food
to see that.
Yes. So it's making that twist.
Yeah. So I mean, thank you so much for clarifying that. But we're at the end of the show now, so I have to ask you this. You've been here before, but I want to ask you this question. I mean, in your opinion, and you don't have a long time to answer this. Look, we just got carried away. This is a great topic, but in your opinion, what does it take for a person to go on to be successful?
To be successful, it's really just making that decision and then stepping forward, stepping out of your comfort zone and just going towards your dreams, your goals, whatever that may be.
All right, Nicole Dawson, thank you so much.
Thank you very
us.
much.
Do I cross over you?
No. I hope you've enjoyed our show today. I would like to thank our guests, Nicole Dawson and Dr. Gina Pasalia, for joining us. Think about this. Change is inevitable, but your attitude towards this change is always optional. Until next time, keep looking forward.